So I finally get here. I'm in downtown. I'm still walking over here with Rizet. And I can't believe it. I run into Father God and he takes my ticket and he tells me, nope, this ain't for you, son. And I said, how in the world did I walk all the way over here and you take my ticket like this? I said, well, you haven't finished the story, so get back to it. So I said, all right. So we're walking, right? We're getting closer to this rave. I can already hear the titties bouncing. They're jiggling all over the place like drums, just hitting each other. I can feel it. You can smell it in the air, just perfume, just wafting like some chronic and freshly rolled blunt that just got lit. And so I'm looking around and I'm trying to find this spot. And then she says, wow, it got dark pretty quick. I said, yeah, I know. And I'm just looking around trying to figure out where the hell the damn music is coming out from. And I can't find it. Natalia, come on, baby. We got to go. And I'm looking everywhere. And guess what the fuck I see? Do you see that? It's a fucking full moon. So I'm like looking at it right there, right? And I don't know what else to do. I'm like, shit. Party hasn't started yet. We're almost there. And I still feel my legs kicking. It's a kicking like anxieties driven up to like Super Saiyan 3. And I'm just thinking to myself, what if that story she was talking about true? So I'm like, no, well, it can't be. Because I usually the moon is at its strongest at about 12 o'clock. 12, maybe about 3. I'm not sure. But it's at its highest point, let's say. So we're walking, and Dominique says, why do you keep scratching yourself? I said, what are you talking about? I was like, I think I got bit by a mosquito or something. No. I was like, hey, but look at it, can you hear the music? She's like, music? I was like, oh no, the music. She's like, oh, I kind of hear the music a little bit. I was like, oh, okay. I guess she kind of forgets what's going on, so we're walking and strolling around. She's on this side, the opposite side of the street. I'm holding her hand. She's holding my cup. And I tell her, baby, can you pass it over to me? She passes it over. I kill the rest of it. And after that, I'm still walking around looking for this fucking place. She keeps telling me, are you sure that there's a rave? And I said, I just showed you the flyer. Of course there's a rave. Why would you think that there's not? She's like, well, the girls keep telling me that they don't know where this rave is at, and they said they're driving around looking for it. And I was like, oh, come on. It's like the location and everything doesn't even look like a secure location. It doesn't even look like a place. It's like in a back alley or somewhere around there. I was like, well, that's some bullshit because I've already been there before and it's not like that. So she says, all right, whatever. And I was like, but look, can't you see all the signs on the floor? It says this way. So, oh yeah, it does say that. So they keep walking. They keep going. And then he says, look, see? They almost got a Stevie Aoki on there. You didn't see all those little Oriental writings on the floor? She's like, no. She's like, that's Oriental? I was like, yeah. Some fucking Chinese stuff. She's like, oh, okay. I didn't know that you knew how that, different languages. I was like, oh, a little bit. She likes up my stove. I tell her, don't worry about it. Tell the ladies to just wait up over there. And we'll go to that place where it's cool to take the pictures. It's like cool to take the pictures. Yeah, right there, smack down in the middle of downtown. She's like, all right, I'll tell them. I was like, did you bring that Lisa? She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, whatever. So we're going. we finally hit that spot. Boom. Nice little chill spot, right? Something real romantic. And I tell you, let's just sit down for a minute. Let's just recuperate what's going on here and find out what's going on. It's like, all right. So we start getting ready to park up, sit down. And I tell her, look, come here. Let me take you to a little Cinderella show right here. She's like, what is it? I was like, come here. I got the whole city lined up just to do this with you. She's like, really? I said, yeah. Check it out. So I show her. She sees it. Shit. Yeah, look at that. This is where we're gonna be right here. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my gosh. I was like, the whole city is in on it. And she's like, oh. So I was like, don't worry about it. Let's go over here to this. Let's go over here to this rave and everything. She's like, all right. It's like, come on, let's go. It's nothing bad. So she starts to feel a little bit more comfortable when we start going. I was like, we're gonna find this rave. It's gonna be a great time. She's like, all right. Sure enough, we run into them. But this time, they didn't have brisa or brisa. Brisa. They didn't have her. They had Eva. And I was like, hey, what up, Eva? She's like, looking sexy as always. She was like, you know what I have to do over here? I was like, what? Cindy with an S had to come over here and pick me up because they didn't want to let me out the house. It's like, oh, that's fucked up. Well, I'm glad you can come. I was like, so how many of there is? Well, there's 3, 4, 5 of us. I was like, well, I still got one more that I need to go. So we start walking around looking for this spot. There I picture her. There's 2 of them straight down the field. So I'm like, all right. I walk and I see it's a girl named Lola. I was like, Lola, what's she doing here? I was like, didn't she break my heart once? She took off on me and shit. So I was like, man. And then I see she's with someone else. And I see her. And I'm like, aren't you that creamsicle? She's like, yep. I was like, oh, it's my dream doll. That's the one I've been having in my dreams. She's like, yep. So I go over there and I go see her and everything. And I go pick her up. I'm like, babe, look at this. There's 5 of you. There's 1 of me. It's already got a full moon coming up. And they're like, ooh, what are you trying to say? And I was like, didn't you hear about that story? About the werewolf? The one that took those 5 girls and they got ate up around here. Like, this isn't the spot. I was like, yeah, but it looks kind of suspicious, don't you think? Look, puertas everywhere. And she's like, you better stop it because you're giving me the chills. I said, yeah, it feels like some ice just running down your back, don't it? Just makes you want to melt. She's like, no, don't say it like that. I was like, I put the ice cubes down your back, moving so slow. Well, I haven't sung that song in a while. I was like, I grabbed the ice cube and I can't remember. Shit, it was an old school thing. I grabbed the ice cube and place it on you. I don't know. You're gonna have to go search it and look it up. It's somewhere in some hidden content shit. So anyways, we're walking around and can't find the fucking rave. They start bringing it up. They start talking about it and shit. They're like, well, I thought you said there was a rave. And I said, there is. I just can't find it. I was like, hold on, come on. So you start to see it's getting a little dark. And I was like, oh, it must be that way. So we start walking and I see it and I was like, come on, let's go. So they're looking around. And I go up to Dominique and I said, what else happened in that story? Because I don't remember. She says, well, he takes him out to a spa. And I don't know, something just happens. Well, what ends up happening? She says, well, in the report, people only say they hear a loud scream. Just a, and they're like, what? And then you start to hear, They said that they don't know where it came from. They didn't know if it was a loud scream or if it was a medium scream or just a quiet scream or what. They just know it was happening. And so they're waiting and they said, well, I tell them, well, you know, it's only one at a time, wasn't it? And then one time it was two, right? I said, yeah. And I said, well, there was 3 of you. Well, it was one of us. And then it was 2 of you. We tried to make it 3. It ended up being 4, and now there's 5 of you. I said, yeah. I said, did they say anything about the appetite? I said, no, they don't know anything about it. So he said, well, I guess tonight we're gonna have to find out. They stop and they look at him and he just starts looking around and says, it doesn't look like there's much you can do now. And they get all scared and one of them just takes off. And then the other one goes running after her that way. One tries running towards the car, the other one goes back. So he looks around, cracks his neck, and then you just see him, oh! And his face just starts to change. So he runs after the first one. He's going after the one that actually was in front of the car. He grabs her, drops her down on the ground. She turns around and she looks at him, and he starts to claw at her like that. And he gets down and he starts biting on her. Not on her face, not on her stomach. He starts biting on her legs. She starts screaming, ah! He starts looking around. Then he gets up and he takes off running after the next one, the one that went the other way, because he knew he could cut off the other 2. So he goes, grabs her, drops her on the ground from the back. She falls down. She's lucky enough to be able to stop the fall with her hands as she's trying to crawl away. She turns around and kicks him in the face. Looks up. And there's some stairs. So she tries climbing up it. And he grabs her around the ankle. And then you just hear, oh, get off of me. She turns around. She tries to kick him again. And then she takes off running, but limping this time. He already knows that he's got to hurry up, because the other 2 are still running. So he goes. He knows that she's injured, so he goes running. And he sees the 2 in the air and says, boom! Tackles one like a football tackle. They roll and they fall on his back. She's on top of him. And all she hears, oh! The other girl, she looks back. She doesn't know what to think. She's like, fuck that, I don't want to look back. She keeps running. Turns around and he bites her again. Starts biting on her. She ends up laying there. She was finished. That's it. So he goes running after the next one. She tries running into those kind of stair things like that, so that way she can hide. And he comes out. He's already been running for a while, so he's already breathing hard. looking around for her. And then he stops. And he looks, sees her, she starts shaking. She ends up peeing because she's so scared. So he runs and he jumps on her. Starts biting on her. Again, not on the face and not on the stomach, but on the legs. Then he takes off running. He already has everything all over his face. He goes looking for the other girl. She's hiding everywhere. He starts trying to smell around. I can't find her. Then he sees somebody pull up. What the fuck is that? So he howls. And the guy just jets, drives off quick. And all you hear is the girl. Please, someone help me. And he hears it, his ears come up, starts twitching and shit. He looks around, he sees that. He knows that the echo isn't that loud, so he decides to pass by it. He's looking around. Can't find her. And then he catches up a scent. Ends up being her perfume. So he looks everywhere. He doesn't know if it's because the breeze is blowing that perfume around, but he knows he smells it pretty intense. Kind of throws him off a little bit. He starts looking around. Can't find her. Well, the police end up showing up because of the reports of the screaming. They see him, so they bust off shots. Bang! Bang! Fucking hits him. Goes off, and he goes running off. Takes off. And then they see her. Like, ma'am, are you okay? She starts telling the story. My friends, I don't know where they're at. So they had to go over there and they had to chalk line them. I said, well, it's really hard to identify them right now. I don't know who it is. And they ask her, well, who are you? She's so panicky and so scared, she doesn't even know what to say. I say, here, ma'am, you can take this lollipop. Maybe it might calm you down a little bit. So she takes the lollipop and she says, sir, I know what he looks like. They said, who? They said, the werewolf. They said, well, what does he look like? They said, well, he looks like